If you ever caught yourself saying, we're ready to buy, we're just waiting for mortgage rates to come down, this episode is for you. Because that sentence, it sounds responsible, it sounds patient, it sounds financially smart, but it might be quietly costing you more than you realize. Welcome to episode 241 of the Martini Mortgage Podcast. I'm Kevin Martini, a certified mortgage advisor and producing branch manager, NMLS 143962, with the Martini Mortgage Group at Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group Corporation, NMLS 3446, equal housing lender. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not legal or tax advice. Now let's talk about the question that's living rent-free in a lot of smart, thoughtful home buyers' heads. Should I wait for mortgage rates to drop? There's a belief floating around right now. If rates drop this year or next year, you'll be in a better position. It sounds so very logical. Lower rates equal lower payments. Lower payments equal smarter decision, right? Not necessarily. Because most people are actually waiting for isn't lower rates. They're waiting to feel safe. They're waiting to feel certain. They're waiting for confirmation they won't make a mistake. And if that's you, I get it. You have a stable career. You've saved. You built your credit intentionally. You're not trying to gamble your future on headlines. You're not impulsive. You're very thoughtful. And thoughtful people don't want to get it wrong. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Waiting for rates to drop is not a strategy. It's a hope. And hope is not a financial plan. Let's unwind what's really going on. It's not just about mortgage rates. It's about this fear. What if you buy now and 6 months later rates fall and we feel stuck? You don't want to lock in at the top, overpay compared to someone who waits. You don't want to feel like you missed a better window. We've all seen the headlines. You all have heard the predictions. Mortgage rates could fall in the balance of 2026 to early 2027. The Fed may cut. Economists expect rate improvement. And you're thinking, why wouldn't we just wait? Here's why this question deserves more nuance than it's actually getting. Let's walk through it very calmly. When rates drop meaningfully, two things happen almost immediately. Buyer demand increases, competition intensifies. Because the same people who are waiting right now, they'll all move at the same time. Lower rates don't just lower payments, they increase purchasing power. That means more people can qualify and more people re-enter the housing market. More offers hit the same homes. And what happens when demand increases? Prices firm up. Negotiation power is eliminated. Seller concessions fade away. The breathing room disappears. So the question isn't, will rates drop? The better question is, what will the market feel like if rates do drop? Because historically, lower rates don't create calm markets. They create competitive markets. Let's be practical. Right now, in a higher rate environment, buyers often have more negotiation leverage, fewer competing offers, more inspection flexibility. They also have seller-paid closing costs and rate buy-down opportunities. Those things have real financial value, sometimes more value than a minor rate difference. If a rate drops by, say, 0.75% to 1% late this year or next year, sure, payments could improve. But if home prices rise even modestly due to the renewed demand, the savings can narrow very quickly. And here's the part that rarely gets said clearly. Rates are temporary. The purchase price is permanent. Let me say it again for the people in the back. Rates are temporary. The purchase price is permanent. If you buy smart and rates drop later, refinancing is an option. If you overpay in a bidding frenzy, that price doesn't get renegotiated later. Let's be honest here, folks. You're not trying to beat the market. You're trying to protect your future. You want a payment that fits your life. You want stability. You want long-term wealth building done right. And you want no regrets. You're not chasing a deal. You're chasing certainty. And certainty doesn't come from rate predictions. It comes from clarity. Here's the shift. Stop asking when will rates drop. Start asking if the right home appears tomorrow, would we be ready? Because readiness is power. Positioning yourself now does not mean you must buy now. It means you understand your real payment comfort zone. It means you know your true affordability. It means you have your credit dialed in. It means you have a strategic approval in place that's equal to same as cash. It means you understand your refinance flexibility later. When you're positioned, you don't react emotionally. You choose deliberately. And that's what's different. There are two types of buyers in this environment. The first group watches. They monitor rates daily. They screenshot headlines. They wait for confirmation. The second group prepares. They clarify their numbers. They understand their options. They run their scenarios. They build flexibility into their plan. And when opportunity shows up, the first group hesitates. The second group executes calmly. Not because they're braver, but because they're clearer. A lot of people think refinancing is complicated or risky. And let me be clear, it's not a guarantee, it's not automatic, but it's a strategic option. If you buy today and rates improve meaningfully later, you can evaluate a refinance based on math, not emotion. You can compare new rate, closing costs, break-even timeline, and the long-term interest savings. It becomes a financial decision, not a regret-driven one. Waiting for perfect conditions rarely works. Building flexibility in your plan often does. Let me say something clearly. A 6.5 rate with a strong negotiation, seller credit, and clarity is often stronger than a 5.75 rate in a frenzy market where you're overextended. The rate matters, but it's not the only variable. Payment structure matters. Cash reserves matters. Life stability matters. How long you plan to stay in the home matters. You're not buying a rate. You're building a chapter for your life. And that chapter deserves strategy, not speculation. Instead of, should we wait for mortgage rates to drop, ask, What would buying look like if we structured it intelligently right now? That's a much better conversation. Because sometimes the answer is yes, wait. But when waiting is the right move, it's based on your numbers, your goals, your life, not the headlines. And sometimes the answer is you're already in a stronger position than you think. Both outcomes are good because both are rooted on clarity. Here's what I believe very firmly. You should never buy a home because you feel rushed. And you should never delay a home purchase because you feel uncertain. But our emotional decisions. What changes everything is a calm, confidential strategy conversation. Not a sales pitch, not pressure, just numbers, options, and scenarios. If rates stay where they are, what does it look like? If rates improve, what does it look like? If rates rise 3%, what does that do? If negotiated seller credits, how does that shift your payment? When you see the full picture, the anxiety drops because the unknown becomes known. If buying is even a possibility in the next 6 to 12 months, the smartest move isn't waiting. It's getting clarity. Schedule a confidential, complimentary strategy call with me, Kevin Martini. We'll walk through your payment comfort zone. We'll look at your affordability range. We'll review how rate movements actually impact you. We'll talk about whether waiting strengthens or weakens your position. And we'll discuss how to build flexibility into your plan. All this with no pressure, no commitment, just clarity. You can schedule this call directly through a link or just give me the call the old-fashioned way by dialing 919-238-4934 and ask for me, Kevin Martini. Waiting feels safe, but safety doesn't come from timing the market. It comes from understanding it. The buyers who feel the calmest aren't the ones who predicted the rate movement correctly. They're the ones who understand their options clearly. If this episode helped you see the questions differently, share it with someone who's quietly waiting and wondering. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And remember, clarity creates certainty. Certainty creates confidence. And confidence is what turns someday into smart decisions. Until next time, stay strategic.